And we're now joined by their head coach, Tony Hobson, our latest guest here on the online version of the Tiger Auction and Dinner here for 2020. And I know last time we talked to you, it was obviously very disappointing. You were already in Warrensburg. I was on the way to Warrensburg. The regional got canceled. That was kind of a disappointing way for that group to have their season end, because I think it'd been fun to see how far they go. And that obviously was tough for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think we were about 18 hours from tip-off at that time. We were, it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we found out, and we played the first game at noon the next day. So had a nice group of seniors, and I thought we had a really good draw in the regional. I thought we had a chance to get pretty deep in that. So it was disappointing, as disappointing as it was for us in general, especially for those seniors that lost a chance to do something special. So just a weird situation. You just move on and make the best of it at this point.
That's kind of how the mode everybody is in. Tell us a little bit about how you handled, I mean, obviously your spring workouts after the season would normally be over were altered and everybody went home, but how you handled the summer and going forward now?
Well, one of the things we just wanted to make sure was that our kids kind of understood what they needed to be doing. Do as much as you possibly can on your own, and give them as much direction as you can. Probably not a lot different than some of them go through in a lot of the summers. Some of them have access to gyms and weight rooms, and some of them don't. So first you try to get them on the right track. And then the recruiting has been a challenge. I think it has been for everybody, so it's not just us, but you find different ways to do it. But watching kids on film and live stream is just not the same as seeing them in person. I just don't care for it at all. And I think it's a lot harder to evaluate kids. I think there's probably going to be more mistakes made recruiting. Hopefully not by us, but I could see, it's just a little less sure. I think we've already had, we've got one good commitment from one of the better players in Nebraska. Waiting on a couple others. So, I mean, it's went okay. I think we're going to still have a successful recruiting year for next year, but, time will tell if we miss the boat as far as the evaluations went.
Well, you touched on it, a tremendous senior class graduating who obviously left their mark in on 4-day state women's basketball. A lot of wins, some regional wins. I mean, it was a thrilling group and tough to see them go, but I know you're pretty excited about this crop of freshmen that is coming in, as excited about that group as maybe the one that's just leaving.
Well, I think they have a chance to be a special group. There's 6 of them. They kind of cover all positions. And, I can't wait until we get a chance to get them in the gym and be able to work with them. And the thing about freshmen that they add to your group is that they're all enthusiastic and they're ready to go. And where your returners are, it's routine, and some of them practice, the Allen Iverson deal. And these freshmen are raring to go and bring a little enthusiasm, and they will push some of our returners hard for playing time. But I'm really excited about our kids coming in, and I think over time, I think they'll give us a lot of good memories. So we did lose a great senior class. We've got a good freshman class coming in. We're trying to back it up with another, probably not as big a class, but a few really good players. So we're ready to go when we can.
Hopefully sooner than later. We do have some folks who have sent in questions. We certainly appreciate that. We'll first start with the co-coach for women's basketball, always a very popular item. Maybe share a little bit about what all that entails.
Well, first of all, we need to get that bid up there, or we might just have to cancel.
There you go. There's the challenge right there, folks.
Yeah, we need to get that up there, because usually it's a.
You don't get to strut your stuff in front of the big crowd this year. Just kind of dance around and drive that up.
First of all, there's a lot of pressure on this because the co-coach has never lost a game. At the time we've won every one of those co-coach games. So usually they come in for our shoot around in the morning and watch that. maybe even keep the clock for us or something. Then we do our pregame meal. Anything pregame that we do, they're involved in. They're in the locker room with us. And half times are interesting sometimes. Sometimes they get to have a little input. Might ask them for their opinion. Sometimes they want to give their opinion and I don't ask for it. But it's I think it's kind of a fun time. I enjoy it just because just the look on their faces when they see what really goes on sometimes is priceless.
Well, it's a really cool thing. I tried to get Coach Brown to run a flea flicker first play for his entire 10 years here. He hasn't listened yet. So I think I can understand that. We have a few up.
What though? That might be why Coach Brown's doing a hell of a job here.
There's a good reason for that, exactly. We have a couple of other questions. I don't think I want to put you on the spot, but maybe the favorite. It just says favorite player. I'm assuming that means favorite player that you've coached here, but maybe just your favorite player of all time. I don't know.
Is that one of my players?
It might be. I don't know if it's current or past.
I cannot answer. I cannot narrow that down to one. I've got a bunch of them. My favorite ones, I do. Everybody says, do you play favorites? Well, I always have favorites on teams. My favorites are always the ones that play the hardest and pay attention and show up on time and do all the right things. But I've had so many of those over the last years, especially, for 12 years, we've had a bunch of them. So I can't narrow that down to one. I'd be, that's a tough,
it is. That is.
What that is.
Well, we're going to hear from Kate Lehman. Is it Bremerman now? I never remember her.
Yeah.
Maybe it was from her. I mean, we'll find out.
She'd be one of them.
She'd be right up there with them. Another one, asking favorite fan. Do you have a favorite fan?
I've got a group that sits behind us of a couple of young kids with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be it.
Cool.
They would be it. They need a fist bump before and after the game, and they're true blue. They yell for us whether we're playing good or bad.
There's a lot of good obviously by the attendance numbers, Fort Hays State, number 2 in the country. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Actual golf handicap.
Actual?
Yeah.
Current? Well,
I'm guessing current.
It's a little lower than it should be because I haven't had anything else to do. Right now, it's a 6.
There you go. Very impressive.
Well,
I'm not ever golfing with you.
Not necessarily.
All right. Coach, we appreciate it. Hopefully we get to see your teams out there. We will also throw in, while we're talking about it, the co-coach, there is also an item. You can sit with us during the radio broadcast for basketball. And we need to get that bid price up a little bit. But you kind of get a different perspective of the game, and you sometimes might hear some of the interactions between the coach and officials. Not that it's bad, but it's I think kind of interesting for folks to watch the game from there. So
yeah, well, they're really close to the action because you sat right by me, basically.
Sometimes hearing that interaction between the coach and the officials isn't always good for me either, but it's kind of entertaining.
And the other thing we might throw in is that we kind of find out, and maybe you touched on it with Mark, we kind of find out on October 1st if things are going to roll as planned. Hopefully with all the precautions we're taking and the testing we're doing, if we, it'll pay off and we'll be able to have a season. So I know the fall sports are shut down, but we're not yet. We're kind of holding out hope that we can get going and have some games this fall.
We're crossing our fingers and hoping for the same thing. It should be a fun year of Tiger basketball. Tony, as always, we appreciate your time. Good seeing you again.
Okay, thank you.